What's good, everybody? Welcome back into the channel. Hey, look, I feel like I haven't done one of these lunch break chats in a while. It feels good to be, vibing out, middle of the day. Let's get it. So first, last night we had a blowout, another blowout in these playoffs. And look, this is one of those lopsided playoffs where you have a lot of blowout wins. You have a lot of 20, 25-point wins. And that's because when a team is on in these playoffs, the whole team is on. Like, the whole team is lit. The whole team's on fire. The other team, when they're off. Like, can't hit the broadside of a barn type off. So we're seeing the fruition of that. We're seeing fatigue play a factor. Sometimes the team comes in, the whole team has sea legs where, they're moving a step too slow. And in this league, in the playoffs, if you're a step behind or a half step behind, you can get blasted by 25 or 30 in the playoffs. That's just how it goes. So, the Heat last night didn't bring it. They, weren't locked in. They weren't that same Heat from the previous series. And, also they're playing against better competition this round. So, the Celtics were clicking on all cylinders. Jason Tatum played like a total stud, bro. Jason Tatum is shining in these playoffs. And that's exactly what I said. If you watched the last video, I made the prediction that the Celtics would win. I said by 4. I thought it was going to be a close game and the Celtics would pull it out at the end. But, it ended up being a blowout, whatever. I was still right about that one because I knew that the Heat were going to have to do that same thing again. The Heat were going to have to be clicking for real to do that again to the Celtics. The Celtics haven't lost 2 games in the playoffs yet so far. So, they figured out how to bounce back from a win and make adjustments between games. That's really the sign of good playoff coaching, bro. That's really the difference between, a coach that's really the difference between a coach that's successful in the playoffs and a coach that's not. They know how to make little tweaks and adjustments between games. You only have, one, maybe every now and then 2 nights between games. Usually one night between games, and you have that night to make adjustments and they have the next morning to do little walkthroughs and implement their new game plan, their new strategy, their new scheme. And Udoka, man, he's showing that he's a top tier coach. I'm sorry, like, I hate to do it because I'm not really, I like sample size. I like larger sample size than what he has so far. And he's really showing that he's a top tier coach, bro. He's really showing that he came from a proper tree. And yeah, bro, they got blasted. The Heat couldn't hit threes. They were pretty much desperate. You saw them throw Duncan Robinson in, and the fact that he can't play defense or guard anybody tells you that they're desperate for offense. Jimmy Butler did not have a spectacular performance last night. Did not have an all-star performance last night. And that's one thing that, like I said in the last video, he tends to do that in the playoffs. He'll put up 40 and then he'll come back the next game and have a dud or an average performance. And sometimes you want him to, like last night, now take over. It's easy to take over when your whole team's clicking. Last night your team's not clicking. Now take over. Now score 20-something in the second half. Now's the time to do it. Now's when your team actually needs it. You don't need 40 points from Jimmy Butler if you're up by 30. When you need 40 from Jimmy Butler is a game like last night when Jason Tatum is on, Jaylen Brown is on, he's cooking, and Marcus Smart is cooking. And it's just you over there. You the lone star on the team. Now it's time to pull out all that shit you've been talking for years about how you can get it done. Now it's time to get it done, man. This is what happened in the 2020 playoffs with Jimmy Butler. He just faded away on us. He just broke down and wore down. So hopefully that's not what we're seeing. I called it that it was going to be 1-1. I think that both teams are going to split home games. I think that Miami's going to win one in Boston next week. Yeah, it's coming. It's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. Only way for that to happen is if both teams get a couple wins. So, I mean, it was a good game to watch for like a quarter or two, but that was a tough one to watch, man. I like watching blowouts. I'm the idiot who watches a 30-point blowout because I like seeing how the other team is responding while they're getting their ass whooped. That kind of gives me a heads up on what the momentum and motivation is going to be for that next game. So I watch those. Not my favorite thing to watch. I'm usually doing something else and watching it still. But man, the Celtics were on. They were clicking. Marcus Smart coming back made a huge difference. Congratulations to Derek White on the birth of his child. If he comes back tomorrow, then it's gonna be, they might go up 2-1. I got the Celtics going up 2-1, but I'm gonna call it right now. Celtics going up 2-1. Tonight we have Luka versus Steph. We got the Mavs versus the Warriors. Honestly, I think the Warriors might win this one tonight. I think this is gonna go 2-0, and Dallas is gonna have their hands full coming back. I called Dallas in 7 for this series, by the way. I'm just that guy. I called Dallas in 7 for this series. So obviously, I think both teams are going to win both their home games. The Warriors don't quite play with the same vigor and energy on away games, so I'm going to bank on that. Tonight, I think Clay's going to be on. He was horrible last game shooting for most of the game. I think he's going to be back on, and I think Andrew Wiggins is going to have a better offensive game to match up with his defensive game. I think it's going to take, these 2 away games for the Mavericks to, figure out how they want to approach this series. It's going to take a few games for them to realize how they want to approach this series scheme-wise. I expect Jason Kidd to make some adjustments. I just think that tonight, the player movement that the offense has, that the Warriors have in their offense, is going to be too much. And they have to figure out a way to preserve some energy, some of Luka's energy. They have to figure out a way. So I got the Warriors winning tonight, and that will close out their home games for about a week. I have Dallas winning both their home games next week. So we'll wrap back up again, man. Hopefully Steph Curry, I want to see Steph Curry do one of those 40 or 50 balls. It doesn't happen a lot in the playoffs for some reason, but I want to see that. He needs to go back to mixing up slashing and shooting, But ultimately, it's going to come down to him just hitting shots. Nobody's stopping him from hitting shots. It's just if he makes it or misses it, that's just how it is. Lock in again, y'all. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks to all the new Instagram followers, bro. Like, I couldn't imagine waking up and having like 400 new followers. It's happened before, but this is big ups to y'all, bro. The people who sit and watch the videos, man. Holla back. Peace and blessings. Get ready for this game tonight. It's going to be a doozy. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a 10 or less win by the Warriors, but hopefully Luka has a bounce back game. Hopefully, Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson can show up to play and tag along this time. Yo, holla at me in the comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me who you got winning tonight, man. Let me know.